variety because as much as Amaz was the one bringing control priest and he is going to start things off, there's been kind of a big movement for the death rattle tempo priest to kind of be introduced and replace what control priest used to do. So Amaz is still sticking with the tried and true. I wonder if he's ever going to adopt more of that tempo paced priest style that we see commonly on ladder and even in tournaments.
Well, from what I see, the Control Priest is making a big comeback because Hunter, its worst matchup, is basically disappeared thanks to the new nerfs. And I think we'll be seeing a lot more of the slow control, which is a lot better against decks like Warrior, Paladin, which we'll be seeing a lot more of in the future.
Right, you're referring to the Miracle Rogue being really tough to get past, correct? It's just too slow.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, Miracle just gets off anyways, no matter what you do, and you only have like the Circle and the Hawkeye combo to hope to pull you out of a concealed situation. I totally understand there.
Yeah, it was almost nothing you could do prior, and now, well, it's just not going to be a big deal anymore.
My,
Hopefully,
Gaara is
anyway.
going to start things off, and Maz's going to try to capitalize by healing slightly, and not even doing damage because it's kind of inconsequential, so attacking with the Zombie Chow into the Doomsayer into the face is about the same result.
I think he just did it for style points there, man.
Oh, absolutely. Amaz is definitely the flashier of players. Now, talk to me about this mage deck that we've been seeing recently from Hyped and other Tempest Zone members. How does it stack against, I suppose, Amaz's Control Priest here, in your opinion?
Well, I think the mage deck is favored against pretty much every matchup except for Hunter, obviously, which is why he banned it, and Handlock. It's got very, very good control among the early game, and it ramps out later, like into Archmage Antonidas and Sylvanas and all those good stuff. I see that they've made a new addition with Fireball. It wasn't in the original version. The original version played one polymorph, which I think moved to two, and now they're playing Fireball. I guess it makes more sense because like a lot of the problem with the deck was like you couldn't actually kill them.
Yeah, right. Sometimes it was you build up a great board, but you'd lose it, and you're such low on health that you don't have ability to finish the game sometimes. And it's a good way to cycle in and confuse your opponent because they're not expecting it. Now that Fireball was common knowledge that it wasn't included, the Fireball can surprise people.
Yeah, it's true. I don't think people will be playing around it as much, which is good for the deck because like it can do about a lot of early damage if it can get its minions on the board, like Water Elemental, obviously a very strong minion. And like when you get to the late game, your Molten Giants and Sylvanas and stuff are also very strong. But
Oh yeah.
if you can't finish them, like there's no point, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where Antonius also comes into. It just gives finishing power because a lot of times you had these threats with the Molten Giants, and then as much as they're great and powerful minions, there's a lot of ways for people to stall now with cards like Sludge Belcher, which actually takes two giants to get through, and you don't have the manipulation spells on the board and the removal like Fireball to help you chew through it efficiently. So it's a good addition, I think, overall. It brings up a little bit more of its late game consistency. And this mage deck is still kind of being explored. I feel like there's only a few people who really know how to play it well in almost every matchup, like you said. But at the same time, that's what makes it pretty exciting for me to watch, at least.
Oh yeah, for sure. I like the addition of the Antonidas because it's become like a good win condition. You can go Antonidas into Frost Nova on 10, they can't kill it, and then just win the next turn, as we saw yesterday against Christopher.
Pretty much Antonidas plus any kind of 3-cost spell, whether it's Frost Nova to freeze the board, and a second Ice Block if you're in a tight situation and you need that last piece of damage. I've even seen Antonidas and Duplicate Impact where there's a scenario where you just get more Fireballs and more Antonidas no matter what your opponent does. Now, speaking of which, Amaz is doing a pretty good job building the board and being resilient. The Sylvanas does prove to be a pretty big threat to what it is. Overall, as the mage, you don't have a lot of burst, though, so you need to make sure that your board sticks. Otherwise, you're not going to find a lot of ways to do damage outside of this burst combo with Zombie Chow and Akanai.
Yeah, for sure. What I see moving forward in this game is the Sylvanas is going to pose a problem. It's going to be picking off minions slowly. He knows he can't remove it himself because he's trying to get value off the duplicate. So Amaz is just playing for damage, which is smart. What's probably going to come within like a turn or two is a setup involving Sludge Belcher and or Molten Giant to try and make a comeback. What he really needs here is a Flame Strike. Flame Strike is like a key card in this deck.
Yeah, and he needs to not die. He doesn't have Ice Block up. He did activate his duplicate in hand. And
Yeah,
Gaara has to be very careful because if this Sylvanas doesn't end up taking a stronger point, there might be a case where Amaz could kill his opponent. If, let's say, the worst case scenario takes the Mad Scientist, then Zombie Chow, the 5 damage there, plus the 8 from the damage on the board, plus a hero power, is actually the lethal damage right now. So Amaz has to be thinking there's an opening right now to kill his opponent.
well, I'm pretty sure that this turn he's going to attack the Zombie Chow. He could also actually cast the Ice Block. I guess he's not afraid of dying if he kills the Zombie Chow. Can he still die,
Yeah,
actually?
absolutely.
He actually might. No. No, just short.
Let's see. 8, 14, 16 damage by my count.
So close yet so far.
Yeah, pretty close, but as the priest player, if you're not killing them, it still feels very far if you don't have any damage abilities.
Yeah, that's the one thing I found with. I was testing the Tempo Priest a lot. It's if you ever lose board, like you lose the game immediately.
Yep.
It's very hard to come back.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not the same. It does feel a lot like Zoo sometimes where you're trying to go for the Hail Mary, but at least Zoo still has Soulfire and Doomguard top deck capabilities. Versus in this Priest, you're top decking decently sized mid-range creatures like your Sylvanas or Cairn as your top end cards, which can be dealt with the Mage deck.
Yeah, the Mage deck has a lot of really excellent answers to mid-game threats. Like I don't know if they're still playing Polymorph, but Polymorph is like one of the best answers to Sylvanas, and definitely one of the best answers to, well, pretty much any minion in the game. I think in this current spot, he's fine with giving his opponent more Moltens.
No. Is he going for an Arcanine Circle play here?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. And yeah.
All right, and the Sylvanas was duplicated, so at least it's not double Molten, which can conveniently be squeezed out very quickly the next turn. But Sylvanas, introduced back-to-back, still puts a very difficult spot for Amaz because his board, like you mentioned, Impact, that's the most valuable part of the Priest game plan. If you can't build the board and there's Sylvanas to constantly contest whatever comes up, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, like he's just gonna ping off the creature with the hero power, and he can just play any one of his 6 drops with pretty much nothing his opponent can do about it right now.
Right. There's Cairn too. Not to mention one of the most problematic 6-drop creatures or legendary cards in the game for Priest because of the 4-attack body and its resilience. Everything looks very good for Gaara to start things off here.
Oh yeah, for sure. Sludge Belcher, very safe. Might be a little too safe though, because at 14 health against the Priest, you're not really too afraid. I probably would have went for either the Cairn or the Sylvanas. I think if you play Sylvanas against a Priest with low cards, like they're gonna ignore it, and then you can play the Sludge Belcher, probably get more value. But again, you also have to fear like Mind Control, which is like getting more popular now. It wasn't as popular before though.
Yeah, the inclusion of mind control by Brian Kibler, he talked a little bit about this in his blog, saying that the mind control is kind of his way of playing a late game thought steal with guaranteed value, because the thought steal is supposed to take their best card, right, and then give you something else. That's at least Amaz's logic for why he loves thought steal. But if you can use mind control as a way to not only take their best card but remove it from their deck completely, it's just a late game thought steal, and you use that additional 7 mana to swing the tempo. So some Priest players have seen that card, they've adopted it into their repertoire, and they feel like it's a pretty good inclusion. And it scales late game because there were very big problems with this Priest deck, where after a certain point, you actually can't do anything because you only draw cards like Loot Hoarder, Undertaker. Yeah, even Dark Cultist to an extent doesn't do anything on the board when it's by itself.
Yeah, exactly. Gaara's got a lot of good options, actually, right now. I think one of his best is probably... well, I personally like Ragnaros, but that's just me. But
Ragnaros seems to put a lot of pressure. I guess Gaara doesn't want it to extend to Shadow Word Death, though.
Yeah, but the thing is, as the Priest player, when the Priest player's only got 2 or 3 cards, You just want to start playing as many cards as you can and start simplifying the game. Like he's got what, 7 cards in his hand, and Amaz has 3. And when you're at that much of a lead, you just need to start getting your opponent to use their answers, so that you can just start killing them. I think it's very hard for Gaara to lose from this point, though, because again, once the priest loses the tempo, it loses the game. So if he did play Ysera this turn, he doesn't have an immediate answer. But you can't really just assume that the mage doesn't have a polymorph. It's kind of the reason the deck is like really good, is that you can just get rid of anything.
I can definitely identify with that. But Ysera is his best chance to pull back into the game, and he gets Dream, which could be important to seize back any kind of tempo that gets established by the mage. Not necessarily the most powerful card, though, compared to a nice clear like Ysera Awakens.
I think Dream was probably his best card there. He knows his opponent has these Sylvanas in his hand. He can just clear them like that. And yeah, because like if he dreams the guy in response here, like that's just 0 mana, take away 6. But
yeah, it's strictly a net gain, no matter what you dream on your opponent's side. Not to mention there is flexibility sometimes in your department where you can get double battle cry value of some extent with Dream. Not applicable in this scenario, but I think it's an underrated card. A lot of people say, well, it's usually the +5 damage or Emerald Drake, and then you bust.
Well, I mean, it's a 0 mana sap, and sap is like one of the best cards in the game. So, at least for tempo.
Well, it's great too because with the proliferation of death rattles, just straight removal sometimes isn't even the best. Because like Sludge Belcher, for example, Dream deals with Sludge Belcher the best actually because it's 0 mana, clear it from the board.
That's beautiful. Yeah, the Nightmare was actually a blank here. Literally any of them could have been better, but again, he's at 14 life, so it might be useful to pop a block. At this point, he has to try and switch his game plan from actually killing them to, or switch his game plan to actually trying to kill him instead of trying to fight for the board. Because like, you can't fight for board anymore.
Well, now it's tricky for Gaara because there's 2 big threats now currently on the board, Sylvanas and Ysera. And the only way to simultaneously deal with something like that is his Doomsayer, which isn't even guaranteed to pop.
No, Doomsayer's not gonna do anything here.
So then what can you do here?
I think you start by removing the Undertaker and trying to play Sylvanas again. Kind of hope that your opponent didn't get the Dream. I guess this is a good play. I'm trying to see if you can make any use of the Frostbolt to try and guarantee the Doomsayer. Yeah, it's definitely your best Frostbolt target there. But
yeah, absolutely. Deny the ability for your opponent to play in shenanigans. Oh, but he has Shadow Word Death. Is there a way you can play this this turn and steal your opponent's cards and kill off the Doomsayer? I believe there is a possibility if you just figure this out. It has to be.
Well, he could just attack and double Holy Nova, but that's also really bad. He could maybe death his own Sylvanas, but if
you don't get the Doomsayer, man.
Yeah, if it gets the Doomsayer, that's really bad. I don't know. It's looking like this Doomsayer is gonna go off because like what's his option? He's gonna Nightmare his Ysera and attack it. That seems horrible. I don't know.
No, that is really tough.
No, this Doomsayer is gonna go off here, I think.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that Gaara's Sylvanas came out second. So if there was an exchange of some sort where both died, there's a chance that Amaz could steal the Doomsayer, and then the Doomsayer could be stolen back, correct?
In some weird scenario.
Yeah, some weird convoluted way. I was just kind of keeping that in my back of mind in case something funky like that happened. Amaz is just going to pass back, and with the Doomsayer popping, nothing will survive. Double Nightmare. So I suppose Amaz does have Burst in his hand.
Yeah, if he gets one monster stick ever and pops the oh man, it's just no, it's done.
Duplicate. on
It's
the
gonna.
Antonius, and Amaz knows what it is. So Shadow Word Death is not even that effective against him.
Well, I mean, it eats up 7 mana if he wants to cast it again, but it takes the immediate threat off the board. But there isn't much. Well, maybe if he sticks the Cairn and then double Nightmare pops the block, he can like go out in style. I don't know. It's gonna be academic if he can just get this guy to stick or like one of the clones to stick and just start firing fireballs. He's got 2 ice blocks. I'm pretty sure that he can survive like 3 turns. I don't see any way that a
Yeah,
priest can kill you in
looks
3 turns.
pretty tricky for sure. Now that Amaz is just gonna try and pop the secrets and see what he can get, but the duplicate does come down, which gives Gaara a little bit more, and now he's able to kind of collect additional fireballs. Just has to piece together Alex Strauss, I believe, if he's running it in his deck
Why'd he throw away the nightmare? Was he just testing?
for
I mean,
counterspell.
yeah.
Look
Look at
at
this.
this. Fireballing your own Sylvanas and stealing Cairn. Uh-oh. I think
Artosis would
Amaz
be
was to think
proud.
about that.
That was beautiful. I don't know why he threw away that nightmare though. But
I think it maybe was a test for another secret.
yeah, I know. But counterspell isn't seen in these lists.
Yeah.
Most of these lists are pretty standard now.
Ooh.
Everybody kind of knows what's up.
It's only gonna get harder for Amaz. More 4-attack creatures.
Oh no. Yeah, this is looking bad. I think he can probably just stick the well, either the Antonitis or the Rag now, especially now that one death's gone.
Yeah, I think so too. Gaara's taking this very safe, making sure to try his best to not overextend on the board. Like, if Mind Control could potentially swing, he's not going to play Rag unless he has an answer to it, most likely. Well, another Twilight Drake, though, comes in his hand. I don't see another reason to avoid playing that card. Seems to be hard to deal with for the Priest.
Yeah,
You
it's
might
definitely coming down.
You might even get out one of his premium removals like Mind Control in the late game already. This is a very bad spot for Amaz. I don't think there's anything he could get here short of Deathwing to swing back the game.
Oh baby, hit Deathwing. That would be beautiful.
Just has to work once, Impact. That's all it does.
Oh yeah. You
Ugh.
know.
Weakest possible play on Dark Cultist on the board against the 4-attack creatures.
I don't think Dark Cultist is gonna do it, man. I don't know. I don't see any way out of this. Yeah, here comes the Rag. Just gotta start closing the gap now.
Well, there's nothing like closing the gap like an 8 damage fireball to the face.
No.
And Amaz is going to be at his last turn. I don't see anything that can come here. Alkanai Soul Priest doesn't even do anything considering there's no Circle of Healing. So Amaz is going to drop game 1, and Gaara off this hyped mage variation is going to take the first game. And I know Gaara told me beforehand that he was very afraid.
I think in the band format, Handlock is just a bit stronger. Just because you can sort of just pick and choose what you're playing against. You didn't have to play against Hunter when you can ban it, and moving forward, you could probably just ban other Warlock classes because like mirror match Handlock is not very good. Like it's whoever gets the coin is like highly disadvantaged.
It's one of the big weaknesses of Handlock, right? Facing other Handlocks, it
Yeah.
can definitely go the other way. Paladin choice for Amaz.
Really?
And Paladin can fight against Giants the same way it can fight against Handlock. It can take out and neutralize a lot of threats with Peacekeeper Humility combos. And it feels like, on paper, it'd do okay. But even still, I've asked Hyped, and he says he feels really comfortable in this matchup.
Yeah, I thought you were favored in the Paladin matchup. The only bad matchup I found was Handlock and, of course, Hunter. But this matchup, like, both decks are trying to go late game, and, well, you can just duplicate Sylvanas. That just seems nasty.
Right, there's only so many equalities, and then you can just play the threats accordingly, impact the board.
Imagine Amaz plays Tyrion, and later down the road, you just fireball your own Sylvanas and take it. Like, I could see that happening.
That is cool. That's something that we didn't think about immediately, or I didn't think about rather. I'm not going to put you in the same boat as me, man. Don't worry. There's something I didn't think about immediately because there wasn't fireballs included in the original variation of the deck. So having Sylvanas and the ability to steal your opponent, it seems to be like this natural synergy, especially if you have things like the Antonidas to kind of get those fireballs. Now, the Doomsayer doesn't pop whatsoever, and Paladin's starting to build a little bit of a board. This is kind of annoying for the Mage, because I believe Gaara's taken out cards like Cone of Cold to deal with a lot of these small creatures in freeze.
Yeah, but a lot of these minions are pretty inconsequential. Like, a Twilight Drake challenges all of them, and Sludge Belcher, Karen also challenged them. So, like, now you just have a 1/7 totem killer, or token killer. But Humility, Effects, and Acolyte is obviously going to be very strong. If he can get the early card advantage, he might be able to actually convert it into enough threats to make a difference. But I just see Sludge Belcher coming down here to deny any more Acolyte draws. It also sort of gives him... Oh, I guess he disagrees. Karen's also good here on this board. Paladin has trouble dealing with Karen, like outright.
Yeah, he's pretty resilient. Amaz already used his silence, and it's rare to see more than one silence, whether it's Spellbreaker or Ironbeak Owl. And even so, you need a little bit more than what you have. Maybe a True Silver Champ to help efficiently remove. Kodo is going to land on the Doomsayer, which wasn't doing anything for Gaara anyways. Wow.
Well, he can get another card off Acolyte. It's probably a good start. But I guess he doesn't want to maybe overdraw.
Right. How many is he at? He's at 8.
He's at 8, so yeah.
Yeah. In fact, he still can overdraw. If Gaara sees it, just kind of pops him up. But I suppose he's okay with that notion just because, well...
Yeah, he got punished here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have just drawn my card. Yeah, this is like a good Sylvanas turn for sure. Doesn't want to play the Zombie Chow.
Nope. There's tech specifically designed for Hunters, which Amaz has not banned, by the way. He's taken out the Warlock from Gaara, as you saw previously on screen. So the Zombie Chow is great against that. But, ooh, and you know what's good against Sylvanas? A Polymorph that Gaara has in his hand. So he does run Polymorphs and Fireballs.
Well, he probably needed more removal to deal with some of the early game and mid game threats that this deck struggles with. Like, it seems weak to polymorph like a Sludge Belcher, but oddly enough, it seems fine to Fireball one. Makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense because the remaining token Sludge doesn't really impact as much as, well, what these cards are like Karen and Sylvanas, so makes total sense there. Sunwalker comes down for Amaz, which challenges the board slightly, but with the Mage hero power and with the fact that you know Fireballs are being ran, it's still a little bit unsettling to know that your opponent pretty much can control the board from this point on.
Yeah, well, we know he has Ice Block down, so he's in a good spot. I guess he's trying to set up his, maybe his duplicate here. Yeah. That's what those attacks seem like.
Man, duplicate on Cairn. It not only gives you 2 Cairns, but there's still something on the body, or something on the board rather, with a 4/5 body from Bane. Pretty insane. Like, Amaz, he immediately slams down Ysera. Now, is he going to be on too many cards if he doesn't coin here? I believe so.
Yep.
That's kind of awkward.
That is.
You don't want to coin out a Zombie Chow, so you just coin for the sake of coining.
I guess he coins out the Zombie Chow. I don't think I think he realizes he's not going to win this game by rushing him down. It didn't work last game. It's probably not going to work this game. This is kind of what the Mage deck does best. But again, he lost the last game because the Zombie Chow gave him back life. So we'll see where this goes.
Yeah, that is something to keep in mind, as it did backfire in the previous game. Now, the Karen, if it trades into the Zombie Chow, he doesn't get the duplicate activation. But there's also other ways for Gaara to get good mileage out of that card. On turn 10, you commonly see a defensive maneuver by the Mage to double Sludge Belcher. So that way you can set up a wall, and whatever your opponent does, you can't get through it. Paladin is one of the better classes at getting through, though. Not to mention that there is Ysera, so as much as Gaara might take a defensive stance, he needs to find a way to remove this Ysera. But I don't think he can get a guarantee other than a 50-50 coin flip with Ysera, or with Sylvanas, rather.
No, but what he could do is he could spend this turn like playing some Sludge Belchers, and then the next turn he can have something to kill little minions, and then go for like a 100% take on Ysera. But if he gives him 2 dream cards again, it's a risk because you don't know what 2 dream cards he got, right?
Oh man, he's hovering over Sylvanas.
Oh,
that is just
he's
gold
gonna...
or trash. Oh no, he's not going for the fireball play. But I know what you mean. Like, just the
Yeah.
difference between a Silverhand Recruit and Ysera is the exact opposite extremes of polarity on the scale of value.
That'd be some Hearthstone right there if he took the 1/1.
No, no one. I don't think anyone's that YOLO except for Hybara.
Yeah, he's really YOLO. Amaz has got some pretty decent options here, but nothing that really helps him retain the Ysera. I think he's just going for some sort of value for now until he can maybe deal. Like if he kills the Ysera off himself, like weakens it, he has a better chance of getting rid of it. Or like if he gives them because he knows the Ysera is going to get taken.
Right.
He has actually no real way to kill it. So
Yeah, he doesn't have a quality in hand, despite having so many cards. The quality's evaded him.
Yeah, that's sort of the trouble of the Paladin. It's quality or bust a lot of the time. Actually,
These late game control scenarios are so important.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just flooding the board to sort of reduce the chance of a full clear and to take the Ysera, but...
Well, in the meantime,
Ooh,
he's got Laughing Sisters.
He's got some Laughing Sisters, man. Well, he could just take the... he can just take the Ysera here with no trouble whatsoever. Just attack the water elemental into the Acolyte, attack the Sylvanas into the Laughing Sister, ping off the 1/1 Fireball of Sylvanas, take Ysera. Still gives him a lot of mana to work with.
Yeah, I like that play.
Can
it's
play
very efficient.
Yeah, you can play
you
the
still
Bane.
Have 4 mana, correct? So you can drop the Bane like you just mentioned.
Yeah.
And this is not going to make Amaz happy at all, considering that Ysera is one of the late game cards Paladin does rely on. But Ysera did survive a few turns. I believe it got him 3 cards, 2 or 3 cards.
Yeah.
At least he's able to get that instead of getting instantly killed. And look what Gaara drew. Ysera Awakens.
Oh man.
Wow.
That is the
game
one.
changers.
That is the one card you do not want to see from your opponent's Ysera.
Not bad.
Not bad indeed, man.
Well, just look at the creatures in Amaz's hand. Practically everything dies immediately to Ysera Awakens, and then the Guard of Kings just needs an extra mage hero power. And that's 4 mana for a full board clear on your end. So to just measure the impact of Ysera Awakens, they can pretty much take out whatever Amaz does, no matter how much mana he spends.
Yeah, he's pretty monster flooded too, so a lot of what he's going to be doing is going to be, well, just killed by the Awakens. I guess he's going to try and slow roll it, see if he can get him to use the some sort of AoE on this, or like, because like he can't clear fully without using the Awakens or like a Flame Strike.
So he outdoors the water elemental instead of Ysera, which has slightly more attack. What is he going for with this play here, Impact?
Some sort of forcing the Ysera to attack it, and then he could just like consecrate Wild Pyro and another spell to do the clear. But which is what's gonna happen, more than likely. Yeah, cause I really would have liked to see the Ysera Awakens here, because that play sort of telegraphs some AoE.
Well, even so, Gaara still has a couple of options. Let's see if next turn Amaz can go for a 5 damage AoE, can he?
Yeah,
Using Wild
he's got the
Pyro,
spells.
Consecration, right, the Holy Light, and the
Humility.
Humility. Just has to make sure not to kill off his own Pyromancer, which sometimes does happen.
Yeah, you can just heal up the Pyromancer though with the Holy Light. So all in all,
Wow. Well,
well, he's got some burn.
he's got some burn, and his opponent's at 19 health. So he just has to count down from there, and all of a sudden, this mage deck does have an ability to kill his opponent, although it's not even his card. He stole his Ysera.
That's beautiful. Sylvanas doing work, man. Duplicate on Belcher is like one of the strong points of this deck.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, forgot that Gaara had full hand, just kind of escaped our thought process. But he burned Doomsayer, which I don't think he's concerned about, considering he does have Ysera Awakens to clear the board.
Yeah, we're gonna see that. And I'm pretty sure we're gonna see that this turn. There
I
doesn't
mean,
seem like
Ysera Awakens for 7 seems appropriately priced for once.
yeah, it's a flame strike. Well, a bit better than a flame strike. Or a lot better. Depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, that extra 5 damage to the hero does make a difference a lot of the times. Not to mention that. Well, this is just ridiculous. I think Gaara's kind of annoyed actually at this point because he might feel like he's using up all his good RNG. It's like, well, I don't need it now. I have the game in the bag pretty much.
I don't know, man. Maybe he needed all that AoE against the Paladin.
I suppose so. Now Gaara's going to burn another card, and it's a Frostbolt, but he's got a much better spell. Vast
Yeah.
superior to Frostbolt.
Yeah, it's pretty inconsequential, the Frostbolt. Like when you're getting amazing cards off Ysera Awakens and Duplicate, you don't really mind. Yeah, the double Belcher is just beautiful here. Lay on hands.
It seems to be his only course of action. Rebound
no.
back up to 27. Now, interestingly enough, Impact, if Ysera Awaken's constantly being used, Gaara's going to put himself at 2 health. So at a certain point, they become a liability. And you can't use it on your turn because there's only tie capability if you kill yourself. The ice block doesn't pop on your turn anymore.
Nope. I don't both, or maybe even one this game, like one more. It already got its full value, and from this point he can just keep developing his board. It's pretty clear that there's no equality in his opponent's hand. Otherwise, he would have dealt with that Ysera ages ago. But again, he drew 3 cards, so and there's the equality.
Well,
Doesn't really do anything here though.
yeah, there's still going to be tokens remaining, and your board afterwards isn't that strong, considering equality moves only leave you with 6 maximum, and even then, you only have Harrison Jones, which is pretty feeble. Now, Amaz still has opportunities to win, though. As much as we thought Gaara was very far ahead, interestingly enough, it seems like Amaz does have some tools to perhaps kill his opponent, because these Sludge Belchers, I believe, are the only taunts in the deck. So if Amaz deals with them, the Ashbringer on the Tyrion can just do direct damage and then put Mage under pressure to win the game. If Paladin's at high enough health, it gives him enough time to potentially just strike his opponent down.
Yeah, barring the water elemental doesn't just freeze him.
Oh, also a good point. Okay.
Stalemates are very exciting.
It's well, you're saying it facetiously, but I feel like it's Amaz's best course of action here because, like you said, the equality is not very strong. So at least weaken your opponent's board down so a consecration by itself could be really powerful, and then keep Wild Pyromancer equality in your back pocket.
Yeah, it seems like the best. Oh man, he's gonna go through the sludge belcher with 3 sludge belchers.
We always kind of joke in Hearthstone about how some of the best counters to things are themselves, but it seems like Sludge Belcher is its hardest counter to itself. It takes 3 Belchers to get through 1 Belcher.
You heard it here first, man.
That's
3 belchers
hilarious.
equals 1 belcher.
That's how good the card is. It can't even counter itself. All right.
Man. All right, what's good here? Again, you don't really want to develop too much on this board because then you're just making your opponent's equality better. I guess just playing a Yeti is fine because that's literally what it is right now.
It's true. Or maybe all Yetis are Banes in making.
I don't know, man. Actually,
Trying to offer some perspective. Shower thoughts, if you will.
I like it. I see where you're going with this.
Huh. Moss wants to get this Tyrion going, by the way, because as soon as he can go for the clear, the 5 damage that's live is extremely relevant, considering how low the mage is.
Oh yeah, for sure. He doesn't have a good answer to it in his hand. He's already used a polymorph. We don't know if he's playing 2. We've already seen a fireball as well. He's got a lot of freeze. He's got a lot of good creatures in his hand. But I don't really see any good other than just like sacrificing your belchers, which feels pretty gross. I guess he could just let Amaz do the trading. Give himself more time as well.
Yeah, pop the Divine Shield at least, so he doesn't get full value on killing off something.
Yeah, you can just throw the 1/2 in there. Doesn't seem like it's gonna do much other than Goldshire Footman the 1/1. But we can see.
Goldshire Footman. Oh man, that's
the same
exactly
thing.
what the sludge is. It's the same stats, but yet everyone looks down on it. It's crazy.
And maybe Goldshire Footman would be good if it came with a Senjin.
Well, that's exactly what Sludge Belcher is, right? You just add Senjin
Yeah.
plus Goldshire, and you get the Sludge Belcher. Most holy of unities, but sometimes you just kind of take it what it is. Ooh, Sludge. The silence. Does it help Amaz at all here?
No, I don't think so. If you went for some sort of equality wild pyro, you could get the sword, but it's also blocked by the tokens. If he did that in consecrate, he could start hitting the face, but it leaves him weak. Guardian of Kings, heal his life. Challenges the board. I guess it's just another big guy out there.
What really surprised me about the Spellbreaker draw.
Plays 2 silence.
Yeah, that's what surprised me at first. I was like, whoa, oh, wow, a second silence.
Silence is golden, man. You need it.
Quite literally in this case, because the Spellbreaker is a golden card. And I think Amaz is trying to use the silences because it's so prevalent and how powerful it is. Not to mention there's priests everywhere with a bunch of death rattle effects. So it seems to make sense.
Wow, so he drew the fireball. That's sick.
Yeah. I could push for damage and potentially use these burn cards even to end the game. Gaara has the opportunity to go for a Frost Nova play and freeze his opponent's board, keep what's on it, and then threaten the possibility of lethal on the next turn here.
Yeah, I think that's what he is going to do. Because all he needs to do is sneak in 4 damage, right? If he sneaks in 4 damage, he can just play the double awakens.
3 even at this point. Just fire blast the face.
Good old ping the face. I like it. I can respect it. So even if he goes for the equality consecrate here, and he's stuck with the 2/1/2s, he gets pinged and he actually loses. Huh. Very interesting.
Well, if he goes for equality on the Pyromancer and then consecrates afterwards, he'll kill off everything. But he kills off his own board, of course.
Yeah, but I don't think he's expecting 2 Awakens.
No, you don't really expect that. I mean, his opponent did hold things for a while, so maybe you expect some kind of card that might swing things like a Nightmare, but to have 10 damage come from 2 Awakens is something that's not on his mind.
Ooh, that was a good play.
And it's definitely nice to get the health back onto your Garden of Kings.
It actually like lets him live. Oh wait, no, it doesn't. You can just play Rag. Never mind. So he just
Play
attacks.
Rag.
Yeah, he Sarah Awakens and plays Rag.
Hmm. There it is. So Ragnaros will end the game here.
Good
And
old
Amaz is going to fall
Ragnaros.
to a 0-2 deficit, and Gaara will be able to use this mage deck to have a very good start in this series. Well played.
Very, very well played. Again, I always thought this matchup was pretty.
Juice concentrates. Like, what? What are you doing?
That's not a good hand.
Oh, gosh. Clunky. Okay.
I mean, it curves out.
Curves.
But it's
And he
not
has
the
no
pressure you
activator
want.
for Nerubian Egg, so there is something you can do, but it's very slow.
Yeah, it's more than likely the egg is probably going to get triggered by the Doomsayer itself. Because this hand is also very slow. So it kind of just prevents his opponent from playing the Doomsayer that he wants.
Yeah.
But he also has Frostbolt and Ping later turns to clean up the egg spawn. So
There aren't a lot of early game creatures from this deck anyways, so there's not like you can use the Nerubian Egg to trade in to whatever creature is on the board for the extra 2 damage or more. So it's kind of awkward that you have this Dark Iron Dwarf trying to buff for damage and the Nerubian Egg can't even die.
yeah, I know. It's pretty funny. And like this is not the clock that you want to be doing against this mage deck. He's what, threatening 3 damage?
Here we go. At least now you have a target.
Yeah, but if he trades in his egg here, he gets a 4/4. But the Doomsayer in his opponent's hand becomes a lot better. And there's things he has to worry about. Like if he tries to kill the Doomsayer and it gets duplicated, you're just having to kill 2 Doomsayers next turn. Which is pretty bad. You don't want to be using 14 points of damage on an 07. Or 2 07s, rather.
Definitely not. Gar picks up Arcane Intellect, so he can draw some cards. More than likely also set up a play to try and deny his opponent from doing too much damage. Mad Scientist is also important to grab whatever secret is, whether Ice Block or Duplicate. I think he's okay in either scenario here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Void Terror.
Interesting. I thought that card was rotated out of a lot of Zoo decks, but
Yeah, me too. But it has a lot of cool versatility. Does this
Yeah.
mean he's also playing Power Overwhelming?
I would assume so. The problem with those kind of Zoo decks is you get a lot of clunky hands. Imagine how much worse this hand would have been with like Power Overwhelmings and potentially Leroy.
Yeah. There's scenarios when you have this kind of deck where you have an empty board and you have Doomguard and Power, and you can't play like one of the cards, and you've been saving Power Overwhelming for a while, so
Yeah,
unfortunate there.
Isn't that the most upsetting thing?
Oh, absolutely.
Uh,
Secret did Gar get, by the way?
yeah, I was wondering that too. Maybe he highlights over it for us. Or he draws another secret so we can figure it out.
Well,
It's a surprise even
reaches.
for us. Reaches for the intellect. I guess it's because he doesn't really feel challenged on this board. The Belcher. Always going to be strong. I'm pretty sure we're going to see duplicate here.
Yeah, Duplicate on the Belcher seems to be the best in this matchup just because of how cheap, relatively speaking, the Belcher are as the game continues to progress, because on turn 10 you can drop 2.
Yeah.
Good trades here, though, from Amaz. Maximizing his damage potential. Making sure to align it so that the Direwolf Alpha also just slides in conveniently. And now the board's pretty strong, but we do know that Gaara has more of these Sludge Belchers, and he can complement it with Doomsayer. Or even Doomsayer
Ooh.
Frost Nova.
Wow.
Wow.
What a draw. Now this whole board's going to go down at pretty much whenever he wants. If he plays the Doomguard to even attack, he doesn't have a good answer to kill the full 7 health either. Oh wow, he's just going to do it.
Yeah, next turn you have the availability of having a clean board, and the Sludge Belcher plus the Arcane Intellect allows you to refill your hand while being able to draw cards. Or sorry, while being able to put out a Taunt Giver.
This is insane.
Amaz gets Haunted Creeper, and doesn't look like he's able to do anything unless he gets Soulfire off the top here.
Would you play the Haunted Creepers here just to populate the board with some 1/1s? That's something as a Zoo player I would do in response to a Doomsayer. Give yourself some options.
Yeah, seems to
Just
be at
goes
least better than nothing.
It goes with the 1. It's good. I guess he has 8 mana worth of plays next turn easily. Ooh, this is just not looking good. A Flame Strike and 2 Molten Giants.
Wow. It's only gonna get more. It's only downhill from here.
Poor
for
Amaz.
Huh. How do you go about this too? You just burst through with Power Overwhelming. When do you even Doomguard? You've been saving this Doomguard for a while, and that's the card that you really want to pressure. But even then, it's still awkward because that 1 Sludge token. Oh no.
He's just trying to dump his hand here, I think. And I think he's going to play the Void Terror. So.
All right, creates a 9/6.
Good old. It's just a little bit better than Corehound.
A slightly tankier version of Corehound.
Good old
For
Corehound.
3 mana. And it gets polymorphed immediately because Gaara is feeling pretty comfortable, and now these Doomguards still won't be as effective as you'd think they'd be.
No, these Doom Guards are doomed to discard each other. Probably.
No?
Ooh.
Well, dodged a bullet there.
What a lucky break.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Gaara still has the perfect response at the moment of killing off this Doomguard, leaving Amaz with only 1 card left to be able to pressure his opponent. Not to mention Ragnaros is also in the hand of Gaara, which is something that you can't deal with as a Zoo player.
Yeah, you absolutely can't. We're probably going to see like a Flame Strike ping here or something.
Yeah.
He can do a full clear that way. And yeah, just attack the Haunted Creeper, ping off the Divine Shield and a Flame Strike. And even with just the 1/1 taunt, like the Zoo guy can't get through with Doomguard or anything. He's just going to be tapping, looking for answers. With only 1 Doomguard left and potentially 1 more Power Overwhelming and 2 Soulfire, he's not going to have a way to close out the game.
Yeah, assuming he doesn't have Leroy or other ways to add more burst in, then I completely agree. He's going to go for a very safe approach and go for a Cairn to develop the board. Ugh. Well, at least he has minions on the board. This was a scenario I was talking about where Power Overwhelming and Doomguard kind of work against each other sometimes. That's only if the board has nothing on here. This is 14 points of damage, though.
Yeah, he's saying go big or go home. Which actually is going to work out pretty nicely. He doesn't have any ice blocks or anything in his hand.
Here's going to be a big turn, though, Impact, as I sense Molten Giant's Flame Strike clears. It's going to be pretty nasty. Let's
Good
just
old
say
Hearthstone, man.
Oh, man, and I feel like Amaz has just kind of ran out of answers here. Unless there is a Soulfire into a Leroy. Okay. Well,
oh.
Soulfire is something. Have to go for it. Does he have Leroy or a Charger in his deck? Oh, maybe second Soulfire. Soulfire, Soulfire.
No. Womp
Oh.
womp.
Well, Amaz kept the dream alive for one moment in that last turn, but it looks like Gaara will 3-0 Amaz and go to the grand finals. Congrats to Gaara, and Amaz, his Zoo deck was not able to prevent